Welcome to another Wednesday live stream for Magic the Gathering Arena. This is a special one. This is going to be another of our developer live series, and this is on probably the biggest hot button topic that our community's had. So I've been joined by the big guns, the ones who know the answers and can tell us what's going on. We have the executive producer for Magic the Gathering Arena, Chris Ko, and
hey, everybody.
we have the principal game designer for the game, Chris Clay. And we have too many Chris's in our building. There's literally only a single Chris in the building that is able to be referred to as the Chris. Everyone else gets referred to by their last names. For the rest of this, it will be Ko and Clay. So, Ko, Clay, thanks for joining me, guys.
Thanks, Nate.
Glad to be here.
All right. So this is the biggest issue, the biggest question outstanding that a lot of people have had is kind of what the economy of the game is going to look like. An economy can mean a lot of things. It can mean like, how much does it cost to do a particular thing. For us, the way that we think of economy is, that's definitely a part of it, but it's a little bit different than that, right? It's also like player actions, how players play in the game, what they get in the game, these kinds of things.
Well, honestly, it's, hey, how does all of the free parts of the game, the pay parts of the game, the earn of the game, the rewards, what you do every day and what you get, as well as what you're doing across time, how that all plays together. And it can be very complicated, and we want to make sure to get it right, which is right now why we're testing this with Rix, right? Today, Rix is launching for us, and we have a gold economy in there. That's our free-to-play currency, and we're going to test that with players long before we get into any pricing or any of our gem-based economy, which is our money currency, our real money currency.
Cool.
Yeah, and that's why we're going out with it initially. We want to make sure that we get eyes on it, we have time to iterate on it, and really hone in on the values that are going to make it a great game to play.
Cool.
Right, so if there's one theme for today, it's we're testing these things, we have these ideas, we got to try them out. We need the feedback. So far, the beta testers have been amazing for that.
Yes.
And we need that help to continue.
Yep. All right. Well, I want to try to reserve as much time of this stream as possible. We've got an hour in here, and I want you get as much as possible to try to actually get some Q&A with the people who are in the chat itself. We have an article that's up on Daily MTG that you can go check out that goes through kind of all the specifics of the things that we're going to talk about. We're going to try to add a little extra nuance here, and I apologize if I end up talking fast. I've been called out for that in some of the streams before, but we've got a lot to get through, and we want you guys to be able to answer questions. So I want to start off with kind of our overall philosophy. The article states more or less that the idea is to make the player's time as fun as possible.
Yes.
How are we going to do that? How are we going to make it something that people actually enjoy doing?
I mean, part of what we're doing there is we understand that people have time and they get to spend it a lot of different ways. So with the first take on the economy, we've front-loaded a lot of the rewards so that you can get in, play some MTG Arena, and get out and feel like you've accomplished something. We also know that there are players who are going to want to spend a lot of time each day really diving into Arena, playing a lot of matches, so we've got good tail to the economy as well.
Yeah, and we've really designed it for the different types that might fit into your life. So if you want to play, every day for an hour or two, you're getting most of the value of your play with those wins in those first. If you want to play a couple times a week, you can save up some of the value and get these bursts. Or maybe you want to save up a whole week and come in and play for a longer session. We just want to make sure that when you do it, it's fun and there's rewards, so you feel like you're making progress and getting what you want out of the game.
Cool. So, I mean, I know that one of the points of concern that we've heard, because with the article going live earlier, we've been able to listen to a lot of feedback from our community about this.
And also a lot of questions, because it's a complicated topic, right?
Yeah. But there's been the question of rates. Like how much are people going to need to grind to get certain things? How much are they going to need to play to get certain things? How much do we expect of people's times? It sounds like with the idea of kind of front-loading these rewards on the things that are easier for people to accomplish through play, we're trying to aim for giving people a lot of their value for the initial efforts that they're going to be putting in, and then giving them a chance to kind of get additional value if they want to invest more time.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, I think really what it comes down to is we want you to come back and play some more. We don't want it to be this, I've got to grind all of this time so that I can get this one thing. Instead, we'd like you engaged every day. We're going to keep the content changing up. We have cards coming in. We have different events coming in. And so we want it to be a real viable and valuable part of your life.
Cool. Well, they'll roast us if we just keep on with philosophical talk. So I want to actually get
They might want to know
how do you get the cards? Yeah. So let's take a quick look. We've actually got a nice graphic that spells out a swath of the ways that you're able to earn cards in the game. It's things like booster packs, keeper drafts, which we'll elaborate on here in a second, match wins, weekly win bonuses, wild cards, which are kind of a new thing along with the vault. It's another new thing that we're working on.
Yeah.
We'll explain those all in greater detail moving forward. Let's dive in first to the keeper draft. The reason that we've chosen to go with a keeper draft. For those of you guys who don't know exactly what that terminology means, keeper draft is just if you drafted at your local store where you go in, you get your booster packs, you open them, and then obviously the cards that you take, you get to take home with you. That's exactly the same thing here, where you draft, you keep the cards that you draft.
Exactly.
Why have we chosen to go with that as a card acquisition vehicle for people?
I mean, I know for myself, being a limited player, that's a fun way to expand your collection. It lets you aim for winning the draft, and when you see that card you particularly want for a constructed deck, you can go grab it. I know that if you don't have that keeper part, getting those cards that you really need and then having them go away at the end isn't necessarily the best experience.
Feels bad to know, man, I really need this card.
I opened the card I needed, and it's gone.
Yeah. Up next, we have match wins, and I want to look at match wins kind of through the lens of that rate conversation we were having earlier, and kind of front-loading your rewards, because this is how this has been designed, is like the rewards you get for winning your matches, and right now it's all the best of one stuff that we've got, but looking at best of three at some point down the road too.
Yeah.
The rewards that you're getting for your match wins are geared towards those people who we want playing for that early portion of time, that shorter portion of time, but then also, like, again, graduating out as you play longer, right?
Yeah, so I mean, for the match wins, we're trying to, again, condense into, a shorter session where you can get the most value out of the system, but still gain value over time if you want to go in deeper. It's going to be a tricky balance point. We're playing with a lot of different variables within that system. We've talked about the cards that you're getting after a win post-match. That goes up to 30 wins. And we're playing with different rates depending on which win you're on. So we can control your ability to pick up those individual cards and not have you always be getting commons. We can pepper in the rares there and know that you're going to get that.
So like as you win more matches, the reward, like I guess we should kind of expound on when you win matches, like the types of things that you get when you win matches. Like you get cards, like actual singles for winning your matches.
Yeah,
correct?
every time you win the game, we're testing out right now.
Yeah.
Big first win of the day. So, hey, I came in, I win, I felt like I made a difference.
Yeah.
But you're also getting cards and a combination of cards and gold. And those cards are pulled from standard, and there's always a chance that it could be of any rarity. But over time, we're also playing with, like Chris had suggested, making sure that the rarity floor goes up so that you are getting more valuable, more rare cards over time. And we're playing with the different distributions right now. We're not exactly sure where it is, but we're all doing it about that play time, that fun time. Right? We don't want to necessarily put the thing so far out there that you feel like you just have to grind to get there. Right? And we don't want to make them too close up front so that you don't feel like they were satisfying. And that's just one of the ways that we're giving out cards. Because like you said, we have Keeper Draft, we have that, and we have a bunch more stuff to talk about.
Yeah, so in the article that went up today, do we have like any idea of the when you're gonna be earning these rewards? I know we said on match wins. Do we have like a kind of, for some of these bigger bonuses, like the gold rewards and things like that, is there like a set schedule we're working on right now? Is that something we're still kind of playing around with?
I mean, that's something we're going to iterate on throughout beta. I think the other part of this is, for a lot of the rewards, we are really win-focused on having the rewards associated with wins. And this is really for the health of the queues and the health of the product. We want to make sure that people are going in and looking to win with their matches. For those players who have trouble winning, there are other avenues to getting the booster packs, primarily through quests, which with this release of beta have a much wider range of difficulty and rewards. And they're sort of the backstop to make sure that people who aren't winning are still making progress towards their goals.
Yep.
We've definitely, people have been tuning in and watching the gameplay streams that we've seen. We've been doing, like I build my decks to complete my quests, and it's always do a thing, not win a thing right now, which has been, that's most of what it's been at least. It's been really nice to be able to just try to complete an action, even if I lose, which I've lost a not insignificant amount of the time. It's nice to still get something at the end.
We'll mix it up. There'll be a few wins in there, but we really want a diversity of play.
Cool. Next, I want to get to the weekly win bonus.
Right.
This goes beyond just like your daily matches that you win. Get something. You get something. What does the weekly win bonus mean?
So the weekly win bonus at the moment is on your second win of the week. you're going to get a common wild card. On your 5th win of the week, you're going to get an uncommon. And on your 10th win of the week, you're going to get a rare or mythic.
Okay.
So again, that's providing a baseline of if you're playing, if you're winning, you're going to get access to rare wild cards and common wild cards, uncommon wild cards to help push you towards that deck you're trying to build.
Cool.
And to be clear, all these things add up. So even though we call it a weekly win bonus, if you're winning, if you're getting a match bonus, and after every win, you're getting something. If after every quest is completed, you're getting something.
Yeah.
And then the weekly win bonus is just the number of wins. So maybe you want to play a lot on a Saturday and go to that 10-win point, you can. Or you can do it across the week. And all of those are adding up. So every session, you're going to get some combination of these. So when we say we want to give away a lot of cards, a lot of that value, that's how we're doing it, is across these different types.
Cool. So you guys mentioned wild cards. We're talking about the weekly win bonus. I'm going to make our video guy Sean real mad at me for a second because I actually do want to skip ahead to the wild cards now. We were going to save that for a little bit later, but it's really important to make sure that we kind of run through them. Like, for people who haven't read the other stuff that's out there right now, what is a wild card?
So a wild card is a mythic, rare, uncommon, or common card that you can get when you're opening up a booster in place of that rare or mythic. That you can also get through opening up the vault. And what that card allows you to do is redeem it for any mythic card.
Any card of that rarity.
Yeah, any rare card, uncommon, any common card.
Okay. And you said like they come in booster packs. They obviously come in as your weekly win bonus rewards. Are there other avenues for them to be acquired by players there? Like we know we mentioned the vault earlier.
Yeah.
They're also in the vault, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And part of what this is intended to do for players is this is our way to give players opportunities to earn or to go after the cards that they specifically want for their decks and their collections, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
Some people call it crafting systems or a way to make the cards. We use it as a wild card because we want cards to be collectible, right? We're the original collectible card game, so we want to make sure to keep it as cards. And there's a lot to talk about the reasons why we did this versus something else.
Actually, I would love to talk about that right now, actually.
I'll keep doing your job for you.
No, please continue to segue for me. Are you officially Segway, Chris?
I am Segway.
You get to be Segway, Chris. You get to be like the second person who gets to use Chris in the room now, so or in the building. But yeah, because that has been another big point of question. One of the concerns and areas that people needed a little clarity in the community today is like there are other games and other models out there that exist already for how players go about acquiring individual and specific cards. And the way that we've chosen to go about it is something that other people aren't doing.
Right.
And
this is new. This is unique to us.
So why have we chosen to go this route as opposed to going with like a more traditional or well-known crafting method?
Yeah, I mean the real goal for the changeover to wildcards, because obviously we had looked at dusting systems being in the card space, is we do want players to take advantage of the depth of Magic. There are a lot of cards coming out each year for Magic, which is one of the reasons we get to be more generous with our card system, because we have a lot of cards to get into players' hands. And we went with wild cards because we saw a lot of issues in the traditional crafting method, mostly in just going in and destroying your collection to chase after what you're going for. And in destroying the collection, it actually starts limiting what we're able to present to players in terms of play opportunities. We think there is a really wide range of play opportunities out there in the digital space and the paper space to give people custom events, to take advantage of the cards that they wouldn't necessarily take advantage of in Standard. And it also prevents some of the downsides of those systems in terms of remorse and even in expertise. So if you're an expert player, you know exactly what every card is worth, exactly what you want to go for, and you can predict what's going to be important as the next set comes out in a format. Maybe you're not going to have a lot of remorse, but when you're destroying your collection to reach a target deck, it really creates a lot of opportunity for a feel-bad experience, where you're going to be like, oh man, I really wish I had that rare I had dusted. The flip side of it, and the side that I know a lot of people are going to call out, is but it removes some of the player agency. And that's where it comes down to how we're building the wildcard system. I think the primary thing that everyone is going to be looking at throughout this beta phase is the rate of acquisition. And what we're trying to get to with that rate of acquisition is that it is a feel-good experience. You're opening up packs of cards, you're getting cards for your collection. Maybe you don't want every single one of those, but you're also getting the wild cards that are allowing you to chase down that specific deck you're trying to build. And what you're left with at the end of the day is ideally a system where you've got the deck you want in a similar time to a traditional crafting system, but you also have these other opportunities to adjust if the meta shifts, if something new comes out, without that additional layer of remorse.
I mean, Magic has more ways to play with the cards than any other card game, right? Over 25 years, people have come up with all sorts of different formats and modes and house rules and whatever it is. And events are going to be a big part of what Magic Arena is about, right? Like we are going to explore, the poppers, the cubes, the whatever it is, and there's going to be limited and constructed formats. And we want to give people, whether it's a gladiator way at the top, a brewer, a person who just came in, that diversity of play. Also, even though, we start with standard and the very pinnacle of it is, these meta-relevant decks that are battling it out, there's a lot more game space to play, especially across the skill levels as people come into play. So that means different decks, that means different combinations of things, different amounts of complexity. And we want to give everybody a collection. This is a card game. We don't want to just make everything a currency and then have you chase it. We want to give you this library of great content that we can then use in all sorts of ways and get asks from the players. Hey, can you make this? We came up with that. And have over time, you just have all of these cards that can be played with in all of these different ways.
So just to clarify, because I know that this is something that if it's not currently being spammed in chat, will at least be spammed on Twitter soon. We're not talking about launching, like you were talking about, like there's a lot of history in Magic, and there's a lot of ways to play.
Say cube.
Yeah, you
legacy,
said,
legacy.
Thank you for making life easy for me. We're not launching with like cube, or we're not looking to launch a cube or modern or any of this stuff. But we are going to be exploring opportunities for people to play ways other than just standard and limited with the cards that are in the game. Correct?
Exactly. Okay. Thank you for clarifying.
You're very welcome.
But it's important to note that this is actually why we're building the game in front of players, right? We want their feedback to get this right, to make this valuable, to take this great game that is so diverse and playable in so many ways and bring it. And when we launch, we have to start somewhere. But we're going many other places, and that's safe to say. Like, if you find it fun, if you found that thing, and enough people have, we want to make that for you digitally.
Yeah. I want to circle back around before we get onto the vault to something that you had said, Clay. You're mentioning the fact that we release a lot of cards during the course of the year. Lots of sets come out, and the sets are large usually, and consequently that means there's a large influx of new cards that players would potentially need to acquire, or build and add to their collection over the course of time. And we are absolutely aware of the fact that that's the case, and that is part of the reason that we're building the system this way, is to try to decrease the lag time before people are able to start performing at a high level within these sets as new rotations happen, right?
Yes, and we called it out in the article. We absolutely want players to be able to go after the cards that they want. We don't want to make that this insurmountable goal of time and effort to reach that. We know that that's important, and it is a core part of this system.
I'll probably circle back around to this again after we talk about the vault, because the vault kind of plays into this as well.
Right.
Considering, I guess we should just jump in. What is the vault?
Yeah.
Which one of you?
So I'll go for it.
Okay.
The vault is our answer to where your progress goes when you acquire a 5th copy of a card. It basically goes towards vault progress. Whenever you open up a booster, you're getting vault progress. And the vault for us is this place where we get to reward you for playing the game at an extra level. We've got lots of ideas for what we want to put into the vault. Initially, we are experimenting in beta with having wildcards in there. So again, we have this baseline of wildcards that we're giving out to you. At the moment, it's not random, but we're giving you a chunk of wildcards as you complete the vault. This is, again, one of those places we're aware, too. The speed at which you advance the vault is really important. And that's something that we've honed in on our side over the last couple of months through running lots of simulations in the economy team and even in our own internal playtests, because we're looking for that feel-good moment. We want you to see that you're making progress towards that and that it is achievable.
Yeah, and in pursuit of making the most of your time and making it as fun as possible, we've designed it from every game in the win to the quests across multiple games, to the weekly rewards, to all of these layers, including the vault pack opening, and the vault is sort of the longer term. Because you need different kinds of reward and different kinds of fun over time so that the month itself is just as fun as the week or the day or the match. So these all play together to just say, hey, we front load this value, come back and play tomorrow and have some more fun, play some today and feel like your time was well spent.
And to find that opportunity to circle back around to like rotations, for example, the vault and wildcards, kind of the combination of them, gives you this long-term promise of being able to, or long-term potential, I should say, to start to acquire and accrue the excess value things. Like,
sure.
I have the deck that
I
exactly.
Do, right?
Like I have the things that I want. So when the rotation happens and I know I want to build this new deck, I have the materials to help me get X% of the way there. And I might have to do a little work to bridge that gap up to 100%. But like we're not trying to build a system where new sets come out, like have fun, like you're starting from scratch effectively. We're trying to, the system is designed in a way that people can be able to stockpile those resources to use them at a later date.
Yeah, definitely. And also, your other cards we want to keep valuable through events so that there's always some way to play Magic. Now, of course, Standard is often what's on the top of some people's minds.
Yeah.
And, like any card game, when we rotate, it's to keep that format fresh. So there's definitely, you're going to have to, use your wild cards to get there, but we want to make sure that you can plan ahead of time and really save up for it.
Right. Tying kind of all this together is we've talked about like the booster pack itself, first and foremost. There are a couple of different pack opportunities that you're going to be able to acquire within the game. You have draft packs, which are the 14 card packs that are going to look very similar to if you open up a physical booster pack.
They actually use the exact same collation that we use. Like, we are legitimate. We want to be draft like you know it for that because it's such a core part of the experience.
And the booster packs that players get as rewards and that players can get from the store, for example. Like these are 8 card booster packs, right? That have is it a rare or mythic, 2 uncommons and 5 commons? Did I math that out right? Based on what we're looking for right now. Okay, and
then any one of those can be a wild card, or I guess all of them, but that would be weird. But anyone can be.
It'll happen to somebody. Somewhere, sometime, someone will open up a pack and it'll all be wild.
Lee Sharp is sitting 10 feet
They're
from
like,
me. And like our economy guys are literally sitting where I can see them. And I'm very surprised that they didn't immediately shout out the exact percentage. Yeah, thankfully they didn't. But in any case, it's a thing that can happen. But it's just like opening these packs and wild cards is, I'm putting this all together in my head and just seeing the booster packs themselves are going to provide just cards, just bulk cards. You're going to get rares, you're going to get uncommons, you're going to get your commons and your mythics, all this stuff. You're also going to get these wild cards as your ways to get those specific cards that you want. I know that we have a system, we talked about some in the article, where the way that it works is more or less, it's if you go on a dry spell, you're not opening any wild cards. We've got a level that we want to hit, and the system makes it easier over time to make sure that you end up getting the things that you're looking for, right?
Yeah, we know that after a certain number of packs, you're going to have that mythic rare wild card.
Right.
And what we're looking for is a system that can only be better than that. Okay. You're not going to run into that case where you're opening up pack after pack after pack, and because the RNG gods don't like you, you're not getting there.
Yes.
And realize that after every win right now, we're testing a system where you get a card. It's going to be a common most of the time, but it can be a mythic rare too.
Okay.
So it's not necessarily a wild card, but you can get cards in so many different ways because we want to just give you that value so you can play Magic that in that diverse way.
Those are for like the daily win.
Those are for every win.
So those are the match wins.
The match wins.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
All right. So this has covered the majority of the things that we've seen bubbling up. At least kind of touched on them as far as this is all concerned. I'm going to be very curious to see what people in the chat think about this. I did have one other thing. I left my pen down, so I don't have the note that I have right now. But if I come back to it, if all goes well, someone will ask the question that I had in my mind in chat, and we can actually answer it directly. But
the only other thing I really wanted to call out is as we go into the beta, all of the developers are playing this gold economy.
Yes.
We're not sitting back with our complete collections going, ha ha ha, the plebs must work for it. We're working for it too. We're going to be in there playing against you in the exact same model.
That reminded me of exactly what I was going to say, which is all of these things that we're working on right now. We're going to reiterate this a lot because it's very important for everybody to know. You will notice that during the course of this, we haven't done too much. Here is the exact coin cost of this particular item. And there's a reason for that. Like, we want the people in the beta to test these things out. And any numbers that we give you today, I don't know if there's been a time in the history of ever that a company has been like, here's exactly what we're doing at the very beginning of the beta, and it's been spot on through all the testing. And so, we're tossing this out there, and
we will change things based on what happens through this Rick exploit test.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so, the way that we're changing things is as you said, it comes back to that initial design philosophy. Is we want the players, their valuable time to be as much fun as possible. And so, if people are out there telling us we don't like this system, it is not any fun for me, I am not enjoying this. Not only will we get that in verbal, feedback from them, very, very verbal feedback. The play numbers dictate these things. Like, we have access to a wide swath of data that helps us make these decisions.
Yeah, we'll be running analytics on it all to see if it's coming at the rate. And then, like Chris said, we're going to be doing it too.
Yeah.
And we want something out there that feels good.
Yeah. I mean, if there's anything I've learned in my time, Magic players love to tell you when they're not enjoying something. And so we will know.
It's because they care, right?
They do. No, it's exactly.
We care too. So
it is exactly right. And so,
yeah.
so we're going to hear it and we're going to listen to it. Like,
yes.
We're going to use this to make things as best as we can. So.
And the other thing I would throw out there is for everyone who is in closed beta, they've been in a system without many of these features.
Yes.
And for many people over the course of this last phase of beta, they didn't get to the deck they wanted with us putting in a lot of packs.
Yeah.
Because we had reached a lot of the learning we had. So we went really generous over Christmas with the pack opening. And what I think a lot of people are going to see is in this new system, you have to open far fewer packs to actually reach your goals than you would in the old. And I think that's going to be one of the places that we're really looking for feedback from players is you've played the old one where you're just opening. Now that you have these extra avenues, how long is it taking you to get what you want?
Yeah. And to your point about the people who are in the beta not having access to this and getting access to it, now more and more people are actually starting to get access. I'll come back to this again towards the end of the show, but we cleared through all of our priority queue yesterday. We have had every single person who is in that priority queue should have received their NDA, initial NDA email. For those of you out there who haven't and think you should have, keep an eye out for the MTG Arena social channels tomorrow, because we're going to have some messaging that goes out that lets you guys know what you should do if you think you should have gotten your NDA and you haven't. So we've seen a lot of messages today about I haven't done one of these things. When am I going to get in? The answer is soon. We're actually, every day we're inviting new people in, and it's all coming off of the people who aren't on the priority list now. So we're ramping up pretty quickly the number of people who got
sign up
in
and let's get your feedback.
Yeah. Feedback. You guys were kind enough to join us here for this hour. I know it's a weird amount of time to do a stream for, but this is our way to be directly engaging with you. So let's take advantage of the fact that we can be directly engaging with you to start to answer some questions. I have my wonderful Michelle. She's one of our other community managers here. She's been pulling out all the stuff that we need to get some questions. And I'm going to toss some things to you guys. Pardon me if I have to hem and haw through some of these. I need to read them before I read them out loud so I know what I'm saying. So Little Cheeky says booster packs as in physical ones. This is unclear. Let's reiterate for the sake of what the two types of digital booster packs are. In fact, we should even be careful because one of them is called a booster pack and one of them is called a draft pack, correct? What are the differences between the two of those things? Booster pack, so the thing that you will be able to get from the store, the thing that you'll be getting from rewards potentially, what does that booster pack look like?
So that booster pack is, like we had said, you're going to be getting a rare mythic in it, you're going to be getting 2 uncommons in it, and then you're going to be getting 5 common cards. Any of those cards could transform into a wild card.
It's also by set, so just like a booster pack would be for tabletop, we have them by set.
Cool. So the other side of that is the draft pack, which if you have cracked a pack and smelled the wonderful smell of fresh cardboard recently, this will look familiar to you.
Right.
This is just the exact same kind of thing that you would see in a store. I guess it's missing the land because we just give people lands in this situation. But it's the one rare mythic, the uncommon, 3 uncommons, and then the rest are commons. I won't get into anything as far as like premium cards and that kind of stuff right now, which you'll see in the physical product because that's something we're still working on.
One important thing to confirm is the chance of the mythic is the same as in tabletop.
There you go.
So really, it's those slots: rare, the 2 uncommons, the commons, and then the mythic can swap in.
Cool, and these are digital things within the game that you can get.
Correct.
Cool. All right, it's a little cheeky. Hope that answers your question. Shinino Kage says, how hard is it going to be to earn gold for people who might not be that good at Magic? I think this comes back to some of the stuff that we were talking about earlier. Like, not everything is a win-based metric. Like, there are definitely win rewards, but we've got things built into the game for people to acquire things that don't matter on how good you are. It just matters on, other things. Play, right? What are some of the ways that people can earn these things, that earn in-game items without having to crush all opponents?
So imagine a system where you never win a game of Magic.
That's
worst case scenario. You never win a game of Magic.
Little tears.
Yeah, tiny tears all the time.
Thanks for reminding me of my life.
But you will be completing your quests, and completing the quests will earn you gold. Gold will allow you to buy packs to get on this chain of getting what you want. Our matchmaking should be ensuring that if you're one of those players who is not winning a lot, you will be playing against other players who are not winning a lot, therefore leading to players who are winning just because math.
And let's say you're only able to win once. That's another reason we front-loaded the value. That first win right now, we're testing a lot of the value there, plus the quest is going to get you a lot of the value you would get every day.
That's a good point.
So we're doing that to really make sure that everyone can have a rewarding experience, but that skill still does matter.
Yeah.
Right? It's a core tenet of Magic, but we want you to have a fun experience, which is where matchmaking matches people of equal skill.
Yeah, we don't want to primarily reward people for high win rates, but we do want to be able to say that high win rate does provide you some additional.
Matter,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Let's see. I've gotten a bunch of new stuff, so it scrolled my stuff up. Fiaber95 asks, how is the vault going to work when you complete a collection? Like, if you have 4 of everything that you could currently use a wild card for, do we have any idea right now what that's going to look like?
I can answer that. At the moment, what we're doing is the vault stores up. So if you decide not to open your vaults, you can let them store up, and then you could open multiple vaults in a row.
So you can go overfull effectively?
You can go overfull.
Oh, that's cool.
We're not letting, causing you to learn progress on the vault if you've gone over, because let's say you're in a draft and you go over, you're not able to open up immediately. Cool. And depending on what's in the vault, the things that you're opening from it should apply into, like, at the moment, the wild cards that you can carry over. If we're doing draft tokens, that's something you could spend in the future.
Yeah, to be really clear, the vault, we're experimenting heavily right now, and we're using wild cards, but this system's actually designed to not be the same. Like, every set, or as we're releasing, we will change what the contents are, because what players value, what the meta is, what's going on may change, or we may want to feature or promote something. So it will always give you that great value for all of the extra work you've done, but we want to make sure to keep it relevant as time goes forward.
Okay. So this is one I'm pretty sure I know the explicit answer to, but I want to make sure that it gets asked because I think I've seen this on social a few times today too. ST Sung, or Stung, depending on how you want to actually pronounce that, asks, can you put more cards? Can you put the cards that you don't own in full copies of 4 into the vault? Which is basically a way, I believe, of asking, can you dust cards? Can you dust individual cards to the vault? I'll let you guys give me the answer.
Yeah, the answer is no.
No. Okay. Cool. No, this is just one of the tenets of how this whole system works.
And honestly, we actually had a lot of questions from devs ourselves about that one, and that's where the wild cards really want to come in. It's not that you're not getting value out of those cards. We're going to have events where you can do those things, or maybe you get a new deck idea and you want to build it. The wild cards really get you to that. There is a psychology change that has to happen. You don't have to destroy your cards to get the cards you want.
Got it. All right. So this next question is great because I knew that this was going to be a question, and I know that we are ready to explain how we want to answer this. It's also a great name. Hat Crab Zombie asks, so what happens when cards in your collection rotate out of standard?
Yeah.
I know that we knew that this was going to be, like, as soon as we started saying this stuff, this was going to be a question somebody had, and ultimately comes down to the fact that at some point down the road, there will be more, like you're going to have more cards than are in standard in the game. We don't want those to have no use or no value to people, right?
Exactly. So there's lots of ways that this is already done in tabletop Magic. We're not looking currently at anything like a modern format or anything like that that matches up to tabletop.
Yeah.
But this is where I think Arena will be interesting because we're going to get player feedback and figure out what digital-only formats we want to bring forward.
Sure.
Because you have these cards, you have these ways to play with them. They have effects, they're fun to do. The fun doesn't stop there, so let's give you other ways to play and win. Because remember, while you're doing Constructed as the core, these events also are rewarding. You can also buy into them with gold and play them for free and get other stuff out of them, maybe packs that you want then or more gold. So we see it more as building your possibility space, what you can play with Magic, depending on the kind of player you are.
So we're trying to make a game where none of the cards that you have are going to inherently have no use or value at any point.
Right. It might be fun, to do a short-term event where maybe you got to scramble and use the cards that everybody else says can't be used. Chris was talking about this, right?
The bottom half.
Right, the bottom half. And those things are fun, and if we have this library of it, it's a lot easier for you to jump in and have fun with it.
No, that makes sense. Cool. Let's see. There are a lot of questions about when people can draft, so I'm just going to,
We're working on it now.
Yes.
We are actively working on it.
There are devs working on this right now, and if you're watching the stream, you're not working on draft. Go work on draft.
With complete transparency here, too. In about 9 minutes, we're actually kicking KO out of here so that he can go work on draft. So we're working on it.
Yeah.
Believe me. I mean, I've already iterated on stream multiple times how it's like drafting is literally my favorite thing to do in Magic, and is the day that I can start drafting in MTG Arena. That's what all of our gameplay streams are going to be.
Well, and this is a very dev reason, but just to explain, the draft we want to get right, but it's more of a known for us in a lot of ways than understanding this interplay of wild cards and gold and all the rest of it. So we really need the feedback now, which is why we've done that first. And then draft, we of course want to knock it out of the park too, but it seems better as the second beat.
Cool. So this is a very interesting question that Omega Beast has asked. I know that we don't have specifics on this right yet, but it is something that is very much on our mind. It's a how are we going to bring newer players, not to Magic, but to MTG Arena in what's their early experience going to be like? The question is, kind of, what do you start the game with?
Yeah.
Do you have starter decks, free packs, these kinds of things? This is something that's on our minds right now for what people's initial experience.
We're actually also working on it too. I think the big point of it is you can't start from zero. You need lots of cards to have fun with Magic. So we're going to give you lots for playing, but we're also going to start you off with some pre-con decks, and we're going to give you better decks to earn through the quests at first.
Okay.
So rather than just gold will be in the mix.
Yeah.
We want to give you coherent decks that feel fun that you can then mix together, and you mix those not only with themselves, but with the cards you're earning.
Yeah.
So we want to give you a really good starting point for the game.
And a big part of going to this wildcard system was to enable advancement throughout a wide player base. What we didn't want is somebody to come into Magic, be exposed to this wide possibility space and not know where to go, and immediately if they wanted to advance, need to go to the web to decide what they needed to destroy, again, leading to regret. We wanted it to be a very welcoming system where everything is constantly expanding for players. They're adding on and growing what they can do, not sacrificing it to achieve a short-term goal.
Yeah, and you can skip to the end if you want to.
Well, and the big, you can, and the big deal is we can give out a lot more value this way.
Yeah.
Because when you can destroy everything and continue to concentrate it, not only do you have the negative results, but we can't give out as much because you're going to add all that up, or it has to be less valuable. We have so many more cards that can do so many more things. It's really valuable to be able to keep access to those things and for us to give away more stuff.
Okay. I'm going to shoot through a couple of these questions where the answers are effectively one-word answers so that people can answer. Brother Howe asks, anyone know if you can keep the cards you draft in Keep a Draft? Yes. Let's see, is drafts coming up in the next update? As far as the one that's landing tomorrow, no. Do wild cards replace the rarity where they are, is a question Trophy Buck answers. And this is, I think that we can get back kind of to opening up a booster pack and what the wild card experience is going to be. you said that you could open an entire pack where every card potentially is like. I'm not even going to use it as an example because it's so statistically improbable that it's not a thing worth bothering. like let's just go. Like if you open up a booster pack and you don't have a rare in its place, you have a wild card instead. What kind of wild card could you see in place of the rare mythic slot in a booster pack?
You would see a rare or mythic wild card.
Okay. If you open up a pack somehow that has 2 wild cards and you are missing a common and a rare mythic slot, what wild cards did you have?
It's a common and a rare mythic.
Cool.
In fact, common wild cards are common. What I mean is they show up a lot. So part of this is you'll be able to build the foundations of a lot of your collections much more quickly because of the rarity system that's inherent to Magic.
Cool. Another question that Thrixix asked is, I guess I want to kind of expand on as you, I don't know if redeem's the right word, but as you turn a wild card into a card, like a very specific card. Let's say that I have 3 cards of a full play set for an uncommon that I need, and I decide I need this right now and I want to start playing. Use my uncommon wild card to make once and I have a full play set. And then the reward that I get for winning my match ends up, having another uncommon that is that exact same uncommon. The question that was asked is, do they get another wild card? And I believe where the answer to the question is, that extra card, because it would be a 5th copy at this point, goes into it's
Vault Progress.
It's unfortunate when that happens, but it goes into Vault Progress.
And realize we're talking about you're getting lots of free Magic cards, and sometimes you might get dupes of the completely free Magic cards.
Yeah.
Like part of this is it's an important point to make.
That was something I was going to ask too.
I understand the whole how do you make the most value out of my time, right? But really, we also want to give the breadth of it to, while still wild cards are on top of that, the way you get a lot of the value for your time to target it. So again, it's a different way of thinking about it, and the traditional systems of crafting are, they work for those games that they have, but none of these games have our breadth, our player diversity, our mode diversity. So we're actually addressing the same need. We're just giving you a bunch of other cards in addition too.
Cool. So another question about availability of wildcards. Like, do we have any designs right now? I just go ahead and attribute this question. Greg and Joel, man, you guys are making my life easy. Will people be able to use gems to directly get wildcards?
You won't be able to directly buy wildcards, but by using gems to buy boosters, you're going to get wildcards.
Right. We don't have it right now. We don't have a, we're not
Correct.
planning on a one-to-one direct this currency.
And it's one of the reasons why the vault will probably, at least at start, have wildcards in it.
Yeah.
Because it's also like, hey, we have a system that makes sure that over time you get the wildcard rate we want.
Yeah.
Plus we have this bonus pinata that you can get the wildcards. Plus we have the weekly wildcards. So we want to give you enough that you really feel that that's working for you.
Wildcards are kind of, so much of this is banned, and we knew this was going to be a big thing, so it was already starting to be a part of the conversation, is the desire players have when we mentioned that there was no trading, was we want the ability to get the specific cards that we want so that when we want to start playing our deck, we can start playing our deck. Wildcards are one of our key parts of our solution to how we're addressing this, and we want players to have wildcards. We want them to be able to get them in a quantity that makes it reasonable for them, like quantity and rate, that makes it reasonable for them to be able to do the things that they want to do.
Correct.
Right, and again, we're testing the gold economy right now because we want to make sure that as a free-to-play game, the game works for free-to-play players. And then if you're spending gems to acquire packs, you're accelerating everything in there.
Yeah, we got to make sure the free-to-play part is fun too, right? That's where we have to start with this.
Yeah. All right, let's see. That one thing. DMK218, please tell me they put a timer in. We did.
We need a lot of feedback on it too, because we're trying out some new stuff.
Yeah, the economy is obviously the hot button topic, but we have so many things coming out with the Rix launch. I believe the patch notes ended up being a little over 5 pages. I was writing those up late last night. There's a lot of stuff we're really excited to share, and I know because we play a lot, I'm really excited to get in and play the new release.
And there's Rix.
Yeah.
Like,
I was actually going to say
by the way,
it's called the Rivals of Ixalan update because it contains Rivals of Ixalan.
Right.
So.
We're releasing Ricks?
Weird.
I'll be back in a minute.
Yeah. No, not you.
I'll be leaving.
Actually, this is a good transition point for us to go
right.
ahead and kick you out of here.
Sounds
This
good.
couch is only big enough for one Chris.
That's
so
right.
I can go back to calling you Chris when KO leaves. So. Thank you very much for stopping by and giving us your time. Like you're a busy man. Like there are so many times you and I have to have conversations and you're just like not in your office and I have no idea to get a hold of you. So getting couch time has been nice.
Thanks to everybody who's watching. Keep sending in the questions. We are trying out some new stuff here in this space and all for the purposes that we've said. So we're super excited to see how it plays and what people think.
Cool.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, we're gonna kick you out of here. Make sure you take off your microphone. Don't trip over anything. Don't kick the camera. Like don't just stand in front of the camera like a friendly human being.
Good luck, all.
Yeah. Don't worry. We're gonna sit around. You still got us for 15 minutes. So once he's out of the room, Chris and I are gonna be able to continue to answer some of the questions that you guys have. Let's see. I guess there are definitely some people. I want to let you know, if you're asking questions that are clearly spelled out in the article or have been clearly spelled out at another point in the stream, I'm going to try really hard not to read them so we can get to some of the ones that require a little more nuance. So if I'm not answering your question, please go to dailymtg.com and check out the new economy article. We're also going to have, for players who are interested in checking out some of the frequently asked questions, you can actually go to mtgarena.com/FAQ, and we have added a section to the public FAQ, or we will have added a public section to the FAQ. I think if it's not live now, it'll be live by the end of the stream. That answers some of the more frequently asked questions people are going to have about the economy. So sorry, this is not a disrespect thing. It's just there's a lot of questions, and we want to try to get to the ones that.
So ask them.
No. Let's see. Some of these are not about the economy. So, I'm gonna ask this question, even though I know we don't have a really good answer for it right now, simply because we don't have specifics for what our expectations are when it comes to people being able to complete decks. It also varies based on the path that you take. Plaxcaster55 says, how long is it going to take them to build a 100% deck? Like, I know that's going to depend. That's going to depend on what you're starting with, as far as what's in your collection at the time. Like how long you've been playing, how many wild cards have you stored up? Like, do you want to accelerate things with gems? Like, there's a lot of questions. Like, I think the best way to approach this is, you're not going to be able to give me a time frame, but like,
I mean, I can speak a little bit to our process there.
Okay.
And that one of the things we looked at closely was how different players of different play styles would get to a tier 1 deck. And we looked at a lot of different math, ran many simulations through our system to see the different rates of acquisition. And we've tried to tune in the system for a rate of acquisition that we are happy with, that we would be happy playing. Doesn't mean that we're right, but it has been tuned to make that an enjoyable experience for a free-to-play player. Players will tell us if we're right or not.
Yep. All right, to continue to clarify some of this wildcard questioning, Remora asks, are wildcards going to be in draft packs? That my expectation will be the answer is no, because I don't think those would have any way to actually be used in a draft.
They will not, but because you are opening packs as part of a draft, they do give Vault Progress.
Okay, so because you do get those cards in your collection, so as you open, if you open the 5th copy of a common, that is just once you're done with the draft.
That's going to give you Vault Progress, but just opening the draft pack. So just for playing a draft, you're getting Vault Progress.
Oh, that's super sweet. I'm learning things. I actually did learn that just now. So, let's see. Are we going to talk about gems and what they can buy? Yeah, we can talk about gems some. Gems, to reiterate from earlier on, we did kind of move quickly through the currency portion at the beginning. Gems are the in-game currency that you can get using like real-world currency. It is the I spend my whatever your local currency is, and get the gems. And gems are used kind of to fast-track progress. Well, what are players going to be able to use gems for?
I mean, the simple ones is you will be able to spend gems to buy packs in the store from all the various different boosters for the different sets. You'll also be able to use gems to get into events. you'll still be able to get into those events with gold. They're not an exclusive path.
So while we're on this subject, there's two other things I want to piggyback on this that are not chat questions, but things I think are important to answer. Right now, what are we looking at? What can you spend gold on? First and foremost.
And you can spend gold to do everything. Gold is our way for free-to-play players to experience a free-to-play game.
Yeah. So it is very important that we draw the distinction that the things that you can spend gold on are the same things you can spend gems on right now. There's no game content, no mandatory game content or available game content in terms of the things that are required to play the game that you can only purchase with gems.
Correct. The only thing that we would potentially gate behind gems is cosmetics.
Okay. So the only cosmetics potentially for gems in the future, things you could acquire. Everything else you can acquire with coins as well. So okay, cool. Tied to this, you mentioned that you can use these for event entry. I don't know if we have the full details of this stuff worked out right now, but like, are we going to have avenues for people to play the game that don't have kind of an entry, like a currency cost associated with them, like a gold cost or gem cost associated with them, like ladders, for example, ladders that we have right now. Those are going to be things that you can sign up and go, or are we still kind of looking at what the model is going to be for entry to those events?
Correct. Essentially, you're going to be grinding through constructed games of some sort. So standard constructed, whether it's in a ranked queue or a casual queue. If you're playing competitively with other people in one of those queues, you're making progress towards your quests, your win bonuses. And then events are going to be where we look at things like draft, at sealed, and all of the other fun events we're looking to do.
It's mostly I know we want to make a distinction so that people know there's a difference between like the ladder, like the kind of ladder-ish stuff that you've got, and events. Events for right now, like for us that means a lot of times like when you think of the things that fire at your local store, this is what you're thinking of. Like the others, it's more like it's not looking at records. It's the compartmentalized ladders, effectively.
Yeah, and it's one of the places that is another avenue for getting rewards. So when you're in an event you've paid into, that's also going to pay out additional things on top of the win bonuses.
Cool. So wanted to make sure that we got a chance to help clarify some of this also. When we're looking at opening booster packs, we talked earlier about how opening booster packs is one of the ways that you will be able to get wildcards. And wildcards are within your booster packs. We've kind of got a system set up right now. We know where it gets easier over time if you are not opening up these wildcards to find yourself opening up a wild card. And then we just wanted to kind of expand on that just a little bit, make that a little bit clearer for people. So can you kind of explain what that system...
Yeah, so essentially the way you can think about it is you always have a chance to open up a wild card, and each time you don't, your chance increases. So we know that after X times of not opening up a wild card, you are going to get one.
Okay. So it's just about making sure that the statistics get more in your favor as time moves on.
Yeah, having dealt with
probability gets
random throughout my career, going pure random has its downsides, for sure.
All right. Can you talk about cosmetics? Hernan J says. Not right now. We're exploring that, aren't we?
Yeah, we have ideas of where we really want to explore with cosmetics, but that is still on the drawing board stage. So I don't want to go into details on that just yet.
This is actually one of the really cool things for you guys who are in the closed beta or going to be getting into the beta in the future to give us feedback on. Like, there are a lot of places within the game that you could potentially think that you might want to have some sort of personalized experience or personalized expression. Tell us. We have an entire subforum that's devoted to both feature requests, and we have another one that's devoted to look and feel. Get in there and let us know, like, hey, I really wish that I would be able to customize this particular area. We read that, and that just tosses more ideas out there for us to, bat around on the dev. Well, I guess not us, but the dev team to bat around on. I tell them the cool ideas other people come up with.
I would throw out there to everyone who's watching who is in the beta, thank you so much for your feedback. I've been in the industry for a long time, and I've never interacted with a community that has been so constructive and helpful in getting us to the point where we're refining the game, we're getting the rough edges out of the way. We still have a lot more work to do, But with each release, we're looking at the feedback, we're responding to it, and making improvements. Doesn't mean we're always going to do everything that's suggested, but it's been really a privilege to work with the beta community.
You guys are the real champs. I'm going to take just a couple more questions, and then this has been a popular enough topic. We're obviously going to continue to try to engage people via social. We'll get to that in a second, and try to find more opportunities for us to answer some questions where we can. I highly recommend you again go to mtgarena.com/FAQ and go to Daily MTG to check out the economy article. Last couple questions. First, just again for clarity, Sergey Lunev asks, do wildcards store up, or are they things that you burn effectively? Like you have to use them and convert them immediately?
They store up. You're not burning them or losing them.
This speaks again to something that we'd mentioned earlier, where it's helpful, especially at rotations, for you to you've got some of this stuff stored up. It helps kind of catapult you forward towards the progress that you're looking to have, the decks that you're looking to have in the future. The other one, and this is a really good point of the distinction between these two, is why is there a difference, if we can answer this question, between the number of cards in a booster pack within the game, like the reward boosters, and the draft pack? Like, why did we choose to go with an 8-card booster as opposed to a 14-card booster?
Yeah, a lot of it came down to aesthetics in some cases. It's really overwhelming for especially new players to be looking at a huge booster on screen as their first experience into Magic. And we found through a lot of our testing that the 8-card booster pack actually tested quite well. Another reason for it is we wanted to, with our booster packs, reach a lower price point and still guarantee that mythic or rare within the booster pack. It was a really important element to us, and by combining them down to 8 cards, it let us accomplish that.
It's funny. It's one of those things that I've always had in the back of my head. Like, I bet that's because you get more value. Like, for every common that's in the system, there's more uncommons and more rares and mythics, and it turns out that that's actually the case. That's good news.
Yeah, funny that we found that people typically want to chase the rares, mythics, and sometimes uncommons.
Cool. That's actually, man, I do want to get through a
if
couple
you've got
more
non-economy questions, I'll answer them.
Yeah, like I do want to get to a couple of these things. Like, there are people asking, like, are there caps in terms of the amount of for your daily rewards? We already have we have match win rewards per day. Is there a point when winning no longer gets you a reward?
After you have won 30 matches, winning will do you no more good.
Winning,
if you have won 30 matches, I'm all for you going to take a break.
Yeah.
Because we want you playing tomorrow.
In all fairness, watching, I watch a lot of streamed games, and that is very rare, except for on some of the 24-hour streams, even for a lot of the better players, to hit 30 wins in a system. I mean, it's going to be tough, but we have people out there who are super happy to do it, and I've met a lot of our content creators in the future. Definitely going to make runs of that 30 pack bonus or 30 win bonus. But yeah, there is a cap. Let's see. Are wildcards set specific? Wildcards are as of right now, the only stuff that's in the game is the stuff
standard.
From it's not even all standard, but it's all standard legal stuff right now. And so you can as it is right now, you can redeem those for the cards that are in the game. In the future, when there are more things than just what's in standard, we're gonna look at things. So, but that's it.
But they are specifically not set specific.
They are not specific. So, I think that's probably going to cover a lot of this stuff. I'm getting some questions at the end about closed beta. So this seems like a really good opportunity to let people know more about the closed beta. We talked about it a bunch. You can go sign up for it right now. And yes, we have had a lot of people sign up who have not gotten in yet, because there are about a lot of people who've signed up. And we are going to continue to ask a lot of people to sign up. So please go to mtgarena.com and get signed up for our beta. If you are on the priority list, you should have received your NDA invite by now. We cleared that full list yesterday, which is awesome. So if you haven't, We'll have some communication out tomorrow. Just pay attention to our social channels, which this is a good time to plug the social channels. Pay attention to those social channels tomorrow, and we're going to have some messaging that goes up. It should be tomorrow, I should say, that lets you know like what the process is for making sure if you haven't gotten that NDA and you believe you should have because you're part of the priority list. We'll get a hold of us that way. Please sign up for the beta. Like it's as Chris was saying earlier, everyone's been great, and it's been like there have been things like I don't want to speak out of turn, but there have been things that we had initially in that have changed since they were in based on feedback, right? Like there's like lots of things that players were like, we don't like this, make this better, and then we did. And
player feedback has changed the priority order of things that we're working on. It's like, whoa, this is really important to players. Let's make sure that we get that in sooner.
Yeah, it's just I can't drive this home enough that like we have very good ideas, but we do not have perfect ideas here. And the only way that we can make sure that we hone in on making sure that this is the things that everyone wants is for people to play it and tell us what they want. So,
and oftentimes we are very busy making the game, and we don't get as much playtime as the players do. So again, it is really valuable us for them to give us their feedback and give us their perspective.
Yeah, it's also perspectives change on a lot of things for people who've like if you've played with something or only seen it. There's a big difference between having your hands on something and making a judgment on something when you haven't actually had a chance to play. So getting into the beta is the best way to confirm some of the suspicions that you may have about things right now. So please do that.
Proof through play.
Yep. All right. Well, it has been a blast hanging out and talking with you. I'm happy that we're closing on this wonderful two-shot of just me and you. KO joined us for the first part, had to leave. Thank you for tuning in. We had originally planned to do about 45 minutes of talking through the system and then about 15 minutes of Q&A, and we realized after today that we wanted to get to a lot more Q&A. So we sped through the beginning knowing we would get to some of the questions that we were just going to answer directly when people ask them for us later. So thank you for contributing to this, asking all the questions. Again, if you haven't gotten your question answered, it is very likely that it has been answered either in the article that we have up on dailymtg.com or in the economy section of the MTG Arena FAQ, which is surprisingly at mtgarena.com/FAQ. So please head there, read those out. And if you still don't have your questions answered, by all means, pepper us on Twitter or on Facebook. We have a couple posts up there about this stream that we're doing. Feel free to jump in on those threads and ask us your questions there. Can't guarantee we'll be able to have all the answers. I'm actually going to be spending the next hour or so writing up a little something about how the stream went. But I do my best to try to pay attention regularly. And like I know that the other people in this room who are socially active and keeping an eye on feedback, like they check what people send us too. So please message us. If you want to follow us on social media, you want to join these conversations, it's a good time to toss that graphic up. You can follow us on Twitter at MTG_Arena, and you can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/MagicTheGathering-Arena. Jump in, let us know what you think. We are always looking for that feedback. And please, I don't need to say this enough, join the closed beta. Sign up. We are now through the priority queue, so the people who come in, we're starting to fill in people who are, as a couple of tweets I've gotten earlier today say, the common folk. It's the people like who aren't on that priority list. Join in. Like we are starting to fill you in right now, and we're daily sending out invites. So we want to see you in the game. It's only through play that we're going to be able to get things the way that we want them to. It's been fun. So
we're really looking to stress our services. So the more people, the better.
Yeah. And keep an eye out on things for the future. We'll be back next week with another gameplay stream, I believe. So this will be your first time to see what the parts of the Rivals of Ixalan update look like. And this will be your first opportunity to actually get to see some of these economic things in action. So you'll have me for about an hour next Wednesday at 2 p.m. I've talked a lot. I do that. I'm sorry. But this is the end of the show for today. Thank you guys again for tuning in. We'll see you next week at 2. Send us your questions. And I look forward to talking to you guys soon.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.